On the 2nd of February, 2024, at 3:47 a.m., the sky above Albay province in the southeastern Philippines broke open. Mayon Volcano, one of the most geometrically perfect cones on Earth, erupted. But in the single frame that captured the eruption column at its apex, something else was falling through the same air. Something nobody was waiting for. Something that would only be seen the second time. Mayon is more than a volcano. It's an obsession. 2,462 meters of absolute geometry. So symmetrical that Spanish colonizers arriving in the 1580s spent entire journal entries describing its perfection. When you see Mayon from the city of Legazpi, 40 kilometers away, it dominates the horizon like a promise the earth made and kept. For 500 years. Unchanged. Perfect. Except it wasn't. Under that perfect cone is a superheating system. Magma chambers. Fractured rock under incomprehensible pressure. Every 150 years. Sometimes sooner. Mayon erupts. In 1814, it killed 1,200 people. In 1888, it destroyed 7 villages. In 1993, pyroclastic flows, avalanches of superheated gas and stone moving at 100 miles per hour, came within 3 kilometers of Legazpi itself. Each time, the same lesson. The perfect cone could decide, at any moment, to erase. By late January, 2024, Mayon was showing stress. Seismographs detected harmonic tremors, the Earth's way of saying pressure is building. Small earthquakes multiplied from dozens per day to hundreds per day. By the 1st of February, scientists issued the highest alert level. Thousands evacuated. Schools closed. The zone within a 7-kilometer radius of the summit was declared forbidden. On the 2nd of February, Mayon released a phreatic explosion, the most violent kind. Water trapped in the volcanic system, water that had been there for decades, suddenly exposed to magma chambers heated to 1,200 degrees Celsius. That water doesn't boil gradually, it superheats. It remembers it wants to be steam. The pressure differential is catastrophic. Expansion so violent that the escape velocity is measured not in meters per second but in moments. The eruption column rose at speeds faster than a commercial aircraft climbs. Faster than military jets. In 30 seconds, it reached 3,000 meters. In 90 seconds, it breached 9,000 meters altitude. The plume was still rising when it hit the stratosphere. The ash column, fine particles of rock that were solid stone hours before, spread across an area the size of a small nation. Visibility in Legazpi dropped to 3 meters at midday. People walked into walls because the sun disappeared. But this is the thing. Scientists knew this moment would come. They had been monitoring the volcano for weeks. 3 days before the eruption, they announced it with near certainty, and photographers had already positioned themselves. One camera was mounted northeast of the summit, probably 10 kilometers away, on a hillside in a village called Camelid. The photographer, we don't know his name, had one job: capture the moment. Capture the eruption column. Capture the perfect cone finally breaking its geometry. When the explosion came, his camera was ready. The frame was framed. The image was perfect. The eruption column rising in absolute silhouette. Dark rock and ash against the bruised pre-dawn light. The composition was exactly what he aimed for. The negative space told the story. The sky had been one thing, and now it was another. Violence rendered as pure geometry. That single frame lasted 1/30th of a second. And in that fraction of a second, in the space the eye wouldn't naturally search, something else was falling. A meteorite. Somewhere between 5 and 20 kilograms. A rock that had been orbiting the sun since the asteroid belt formed 4.6 billion years ago. A rock that survived re-entry with most of its mass intact. On the 2nd of February, 2024, at the exact moment a volcano erupted in the Philippines, that meteorite was descending through the atmosphere at approximately 30 kilometers per hour, still accelerating. The eruption column was rising at 10 meters per second. They intersected, in the upper right corner of the frame, visible for less than 1 second. A thin, almost invisible streak against the chaos of the plume. Not centered, not highlighted, not announced. Just there, a small detail in a frame that had one obvious subject. Easy to miss. Except here is where the moment truly lies. Not in the instant the frame was exposed, but 2 seconds after you watch it. That involuntary catch in your sternum. That moment where your eye didn't register something but your hindbrain did. The ancient part of your brain that still hunts the sky went alert. Something moved. Something was wrong. Your nervous system knew before you could think. Your thumb found the scrubber before your conscious mind decided. Before you could say I'm rewinding. Your hand was moving. Backward. Back to the frame. Back to the corner. Back to the thing that was almost missed. That involuntary movement. That's the right. The moment you choose to see what you almost didn't. And here's what makes it real. The probability of a meteorite falling during a volcanic eruption that is simultaneously being photographed. At the same altitude as the eruption column. In the same frame. Visible on the final image. That probability is so small it doesn't have a name. Astronomers would call it essentially impossible. It's the kind of coincidence that makes you feel seen by a universe that statistically doesn't know you exist. Which brings us to the argument the frame refuses to make. A meteorite doesn't fall as a message. It falls because gravity exists. Because mass has inertia. It was falling whether or not anyone was watching. Whether or not the camera was there. Whether or not the universe knew it would happen at the same moment as a volcano. The volcano didn't erupt as a performance. It erupted because pressure existed. Because the Earth's interior is still restless. It didn't know photographers were waiting. It didn't arrange this moment. It erupted because the physics of its interior demanded eruption. These are not communications. They are not authored. They are indifferent. The universe does not perform. And yet, you rewound. Because some part of you, the part that still hunts the sky, the part that remembers when your ancestors saw intention in the constellations, the part of your hindbrain that is absolutely certain the world is trying to tell you something, that part knew something the logical brain denied. The mystery felt real. The rewind felt necessary. And now you're trapped between two truths. The rational knowledge that this was coincidence, and the sensory certainty that the universe was signing. That's the threshold you crossed. Before you rewound, the universe was random. A meteorite fell. A volcano erupted. Two unrelated events. After you rewound, the universe was something else. Something that shows you doors you didn't know existed. Something that places signs in places you almost miss. You can't uncross that. The question doesn't leave. Could this be coincidence? Could the universe be trying to say something? Could signs be real in a cosmos that's absolutely indifferent? The frame refuses to answer. And so you live in the space between. Unsettled. Wondering. The mystery stays with you. Not as a riddle to be solved. As a sensation to be carried. That's what Vault Unknown is. Not resolutions. Not explanations. Just the moments where the world shows you a door you didn't know existed. And leaves you standing in front of it. Thumb on the scrubber. Knowing you'll never quite stop looking.